As a queer person growing up in Alabama, I really always understood what it meant to be different, but I didn't understand why that had to mean that I had less opportunity or fewer rights. And so for me, the concept of equality through policy change became really attractive.
I was born into a conservative colored family that was always in the church. And so I had this struggle within myself to reconcile my sexuality and my faith. Because faith and spirituality is a huge part of our human connectedness to a higher being. And the landscape is extremely homophobic because faith and sacred texts are interpreted in a certain way, located within patriarchy, within fundamentalism. And so the whole conversation of the integration of faith and sexuality and gender identity is something that is still frowned about.
Questions around sexual orientation and gender identity are so important to address from a broad coalition perspective, recognizing it's about securing fundamental human rights for all. And there is considerable progress that's been made, such as the gradual but steady decriminalization of consensual same-sex conduct in many parts of the world.
Now we're at a place where they have that kind of positive education, thanks to the Gather Together campaign, where we are using cisgender heterosexual allies to say in very short video stories why they accept their lesbian daughters, their gay sons, their co-workers who are LGBTIQA people. And that has helped support making those legislative reforms.
But what we also know now is that the anti-gender movement is really gaining steam and momentum under the guise of the protection of children's rights and the protections of cisgender women's rights.
Fear and the unfamiliarity, to be generous, about trans folks has been leveraged in order to build an entire straw man argument. That's why we are where we are right now with so many anti-trans bills.
Las personas trans somos sujetas a un círculo de violencia. La falta de esas políticas públicas hace que esta violencia no sea condenada. Las personas LGTB tienen que huir de sus hogares porque están huyendo de ser perseguidas por quienes son.
En México estamos teniendo una migración por parte de estas poblaciones de estos países en Centroamérica al Estado mexicano, porque las personas trans están buscando un lugar donde poder vivir. Pero el tránsito migratorio para llegar a la Ciudad de México, que podría ser una ciudad segura, también se vuelve un tránsito muy peligroso para las personas trans. Por eso, Almas Cautivas ha dado acompañamiento a varios casos de personas LGBTI que han cruzado por nuestro país y al que busca es hacer este vínculo, conseguirles estos documentos, darles cobijo en alguna de nuestras casas.
It's always important, especially in times in which there's a strong rhetorical pushback, to remember the kind of progress that has been made over the past decades.
Nuestros derechos cada vez van avanzando de manera de pasos cortos pero firmes y fuertes. Y creo que eso es un muy buen indicador para el futuro.